I am, I believe, Kentucky's only remaining coffin maker. And I make custom-built coffins. And as that implies, it's for people who aren't dead yet, but know they will be someday. They like to be prepared, and they also want a coffin that's a little more personal and says something about them more than the commercial caskets of the day. The most common coffin that I build that people seem to want is the old-fashioned classic toe pincher style, but I always like to put kind of a contemporary twist to them, and I do that by working with the client to choose what kind of fabrics they want to go in it, or to incorporate various symbols and things. And I've done ones with carving and things on them too. I don't keep a lot of coffins in stock. And that's one of the questions I get all the time. Do you have anything in stock? We're in a hurry. And I have to tell them, no, I don't. But I do have a couple on hand. One is a prototype that I built because I wanted to do something really different that didn't look like any coffin that had ever been made. It's a long rectangle. It's turned so it rests on the points, and then it sits in a cradle to hold it upright, and it opens across the points like a clam. The wood on it is white oak, all varnished, and then it has panels that make up the top and the bottom that are made out of expanded PVC plastic. And I painted it so it looks like clouds in the sky, but in an abstract way. And then it's all lined in gray velvet. Pretty neat looking coffin. And the other one that I have in the shop is a Steamboat Coffin, which is based on, it's actually a toe pincher style coffin, but it's dressed up like a steamboat. It is made of pine, and the lid is a two-piece lid, and either piece will lift off. It has two falutes, which that's what they call the smokestacks on steamboats. And then there's a stern wheel that sits behind the coffin. And it's all lined on the inside with kind of a deep red brocade like you would expect to see the old flocked wallpaper in steamboats. I learned quite a bit about the design of older coffins and the construction of older coffins. And I've kind of revived that tradition and those techniques. I use modern tools, but I use the old construction techniques. I happened to go through an antique store almost 2 years ago, and I see this big wooden coffin sitting in there. I mean, an extreme toe pincher, very narrow and a peaked lid, and obviously the real thing. Of course, Perryville was the site of the largest Civil War battle in Kentucky, and the antique store at the time of the battle was the general store. And to answer the need to bury all those dead soldiers, this place built those coffins for several years. And this was one of the actual coffins that had been built there. So that's what I'm doing now, is building a replica of that coffin. I also do cremation urns and also reliquaries. Built an urn for my wife's and my favorite cat that we found at McDonald's, and so the urn incorporates yellow McDonald arches and a bright red top, and the handle on the top is the cat's favorite toy. One of the more recent pieces I made was a reliquary for a queen bee, which is in the form of a scepter. It's about 2 feet long, and the queen bee is in a glass container at the top of the scepter that's filled with honey. I have another urn that's was made for a cat, and it was a cat that could open doors by jumping up and turning the doorknob. So I made the lid on the top shaped like a doorknob, and then with a little glass cat eye in the top of the doorknob. And since the cat was calico, the base is painted like calico colors. We do have T-shirts. They are, of course, black. Black only, don't ask for white. They were designed by my son, who's a graphic designer, and they have the company name on them, Bert and Bud's Vintage Coffins, and 3 different slogans you can choose from. Don't be caught dead without one, we put the fun back in funeral, and think inside the box. And we also have posters. Each of 3 posters has a different coffin picture on it, and it's all surrounded by Victorian filigree, and then these funny quotes like, "The earthworms will be speechless." This man asked me if I'd be interested in building a coffin for him, and then tells me that he is Santa Claus. And I said, sure.
My coffin is very unique. For one reason, it's a toe pincher, which you don't see very much. It was made for me. It was made with my design. It's made out of white oak. It has holly leaves all around the edge here, and then Santa Claus with a bag of toys and a reindeer there, and just beautiful. To me, it's just beautiful, and people that come in and look at it think so too. After they get over the shock of a coffin sitting in the living room. I love my coffin. I hope it's a long time before I use it, but you know, I get to enjoy it. Most people don't get to do that. A lot of people think I'm morbid. That's me. I can be different. I'm Santa Claus.
I have learned that since I have started making coffins, that I've started to face my own mortality in a much more rational way than I did before. And I'm trying to offer people a chance to take part in designing their own coffin, and therefore help them to come to terms with their mortality too.